Welcome everyone to the new video on this Microprocessor 8085 lecture series, and today's topic is delay and delay routines. First of all, what is delay? Basically, it's time wasting. An example of delay will be, you all have seen those Diwali lights, right? Which goes on and then off. Basically, it's blinking. So there will be various types of those lights. Some goes on, then stay for some time and then goes off. Some goes on and then just suddenly they goes off. So in between this time that is being wasted is called delay. This is just a silly example of delay in that how we can use delay. So what happened? You turn on the light, wait some time, then off. So how we can produce this delay? This is our today's lecture. Now delays are of two kinds, hardware delay and software delay. What is hardware delay? When we produce delay using software or just by writing codes. Like I have written some program, I do INR B and then do DCRB. What happens? Suppose in my B there was 04. When I do increment, it goes 05. After decrementing, it goes 04. So at the end of the day, nothing effectively has changes in this program. But by doing these two operations, I waste some time. But the value in my register is not affected. So this is just a silly example of delay. There are 1,000 ways of producing software delays. Just it can be, you can do whatever you want with your program. But there will be 3 textbook defined approaches for producing software delay. I will teach those 3 today. And the other delay is hardware delay. It is when the delay is produced by hardware. How this happens? Suppose this is my MUPI. We have to set a timer, an external device. Suppose in a chip, there will be a timer. There is a register. It has to be of a particular size. Suppose it is an 8-bit register. So in an 8-bit register, I can store an 8-bit value. Suppose max to max, it can goes to FFH, means 255. I'm dealing with time here, and in time obviously we can measure it in decimal. The FFH is in it's a hexadecimal number, right? So what we will do is we will connect this MUPI to a chip. We will store 255 value in a timer, and now we will say that okay, go on decrementing from 255 to 0. Set a count of 255 until it goes 0. Just go on decrementing. So from 255 to 0, this will require some time to get executed. When it will go 0, then go back to MUPI. What happens? Using this chip, we are wasting some time. How? To perform this decrementing from 255 to 0, this will require some time and we can get our delay. Now set as many chips you want to produce delay. So what are the main differences between hardware delay and software delay? Software delay, we are just writing some codes to produce this. So why this is cheaper? In hardware, we need an external device to produce the delay. So this will cost something. This is why it is costly. Now software delay, it is flexible to use, right? You can just write as many loops as you want. Suppose I have written a loop 1. This will cost 1 minute. Then again write a second loop which will continue to go on 60 times. So this will then give me 60 minutes, means 1 hour. Now this 1 hour, if I go on producing 24 times, this will be 24 hours, means 1 day. Go on 365 times, it will give you a delay of 365 days, right? So this is why software delays are quite flexible to use. But in hardware delays, there is obviously a limitation. Suppose in 8254 PIC, there are 3 timers. So these are quite not flexible to use. Okay. Then software delay, obviously this is simple to write a code. You just have to know how to write a loop. Suppose in my example, okay, you can choose whatever way you want to. But in hardware, when we are setting up that environment to produce this delay, building a circuit is not at all simple. It is quite complex. So hardware delays are complex to use. So these are the actual 3 advantages of using software delay over hardware. But obviously there are certain advantages of using hardware delay, otherwise why they are being invented, right? So the 2 major advantages that hardware delays give us, they are, see, mu p is doing one task at a time. So suppose I am writing a program where I have produced a software delay. Mu p is busy on doing that delay program. Suppose in this program INCR and DCR, mu p has to perform these operations. So whenever even we are producing a delay, my mu p is dedicated to that task only. It can't perform any other operation. But in hardware delay, mu p, go to hardware, produce some delay, go back. Meanwhile, mu p is free. In hardware delay, the delay is produced by that timer. Mu p is not doing anything in that time. So mu p is free to do something other, to do some other operation. So in software delay, mu p is busy producing delay. In hardware delay, mu p is free, right? What is the second advantage? Suppose I am writing a program P1. There I am creating some delay. Okay. Using software delays, mu p is busy doing that one program only. It can't focus on other program. But in hardware delay, suppose I have written program 1, give it to a timer 1. Meanwhile, mu p is free. He is doing another program. While doing that another program, I discover that I may need another delay. Okay, set it to another timer. Mu p is busy. You can perform something else. Mu p will go to produce program number 3. Then also I need another timer. So basically what my point is, using hardware delay, we can produce multiple delays. But in software, one delay at a time. Did you understand? These are the 2 major advantages of using hardware delay. Okay, so this is the difference between hardware and software delay. I think you understood by now. How we can produce delay? There are 3 ways of producing software delay. The hardware delay, we will discuss that on 8254 lecture. So the 3 main ways of producing software delay. The first one is using NOP instruction. NOP is no operation, right? So suppose this is my program. I have written some code here. Now I write no operation. So no operation means, first of all, NOP, it's a 1 byte instruction. So first of all, when the mu p says NOP, this will go first is from memory. I need to fetch the opcode. So the one machine cycle that will get performed is opcode. Opcode is of 4 T states. Then when decoded, this says no operation. Okay, no execution will get performed. But at least opcode fetch 4 T states are being performed already. Right? Let's assume that mu p 8085 works on 3 MHz. Okay, so the total time that no operation will need is 1t equals to 1 by 3 MHz, which is 0.33 millisecond. The total 4 T states are required, so total delay is 4 into 0.33 millisecond, means something 1.32 microsecond. So using NOP instruction, I can produce delay of 1.32 microsecond. So I need to perform millions of NOP to produce the delay only of 1 second. So this is not a real life example of using delay. I can't use this instruction to produce delay. This is just a textbook definition, defined instruction. This is why I'm just teaching this to you. So what happens in NOP? NOP will just produce the delay of 4t states, which is 1.32 microsecond. So this is not a real life example. The next instruction, which is widely used in real life to produce delay, is using a 8-bit register. How can we use this 8-bit register? Just construct a dummy loop that will do nothing, but obviously the loop will need some time. I think you all have read time complexity in algorithm, right? So you know how to count the time using in a loop. So we will just create a dummy loop using some value. Means, suppose I think we will create a dummy loop. For that, I need a count. I need some range, that how many times you want to you want to go your loop on or something. So how can we do that? We will just write code for that. Now for producing of delay one time, we can write one loop, but if we want to produce several delays, you can use this loop several times. So what can we do? We will just create a subroutine for that function, right? And whenever we need delay, we will just call that function. So suppose I create the delay routine. Suppose this is called delay program. So call delay program. Go to delay program. This is my B register. You can choose whatever register you want. Then keep there a count. Means keep there a number, the range that you want. So suppose I have taken MBI B, 0 at H. Now decrement B. Okay. JNZ back. Jump if not 0 back. 8 DCRB 7. Is it 0? No, back. Okay. Then again decrement B. This will continue till B becomes 0, and then return to your main address. What happens? I'm just getting B 08 to 00. Nothing else is happening. But this will take some time. I just need this time. I will just waste this time to produce a delay. That's it. So how can we count that how much time is getting wasted? Let's see. First, MBI B, count number. Suppose this is my variable name. You can use, this is just a value that we will get stored. So in 8-bit register, the maximum value that we can store is FFH. So I'm taking the example of FFH, okay? MBI B, FFH. First, opcode fetch is required 4 T states plus this FF needs to get read. So memory read 3 T states, total 7T, okay? Then back, see, we know that this is an address. But obviously we are programmers, we can't memorize the address, so we will use a label for that. So this is my back DCRT. Now DCRT, it's an 8-bit register. So whenever we are performing something obviously done by that ALU, it will affect the flag register, and my flag 0 flag will get affected by that. So whenever we am writing DCRB, means it will decrement my B register, and then so this will take some time, this is only for 1 byte instruction and need 4 T states, as the rest execution will get performed in MUP only, so we don't need any other memory cycle. So 4 T states for DCRB. Then J and Z back. Now this is an instruction for which the timing diagram is required. Let me do this. First, J and Z address. This is a 3 byte instruction. 1 byte, 1 byte, 1 byte, right? HAL, higher address, lower address. What is the timing diagram on JNZ JNZ? First of all, what is the full form of this? Jump if not 0. Clear? How JNZ get performed? This is my MUP, this is my memory. In MUP, when MUP see this instruction, first obviously opcode fetch. Opcode fetch is done. See, what I have to do is, I have to check my flag register, either it is 0 or not. In this case, by default, we think that the condition is true. By default, it is true. Means I have to go back to my address again. How JNZ is instructed that when your opcode fetch is being performed, 4 T states has been done, think that your condition is true and fetch your address, first address, means 0020, right? First OF has been done, then LA will get fetched, means it's a MR, OF, MR. Now check the condition. See, if I have to get back to my address, only then I need that address. So if it is true, then OF, MR, then this address also needs to get read. So I will need one extra MR. But if my B register is 0, I don't need to get back to my address, right? So I don't need that extra, this address is not needed. So in false, only OF and MR. Let me discuss this. Suppose in my example, I have taken 08 in my B register, right? So MVI B, 08H, DCRB, JNZ back, BACK, and this is return. What happens? MBI B08, 70 states, no problem. In this is a loop, right? First, B is 8. We initialize B with 8 register. On first line, back DCR B means B becomes 07 on first step. For this, I need 40 state. Then JNZ back. Now, jump if not 0, back. But B is 7. I have to get back. Means in this case, JNZ back will need first one for opcode fetch, memory, MUP. First for JNZ, my opcode is being fetched. Then back, its address, so 0020. I have taken my previous example. Sorry. 00 will get fetched, MR, 20 will get fetched, MR means 4 plus 3 plus 3. 10 T states. I will need 10 T states here. Okay. Get back. Now DCR B. B will now become 06. 40, 10T. I hope you understand why I have done this, right? For this one and for this one. Again goes back as B is not 0. So now B is 05, 40, 10T. Next 04, 40, 10T. B is 03, 40, 10T. B is 40, 10T. 0 1 4t 10t 0 0 4t will required. But now when 0 0, when suppose after 1 DCR B becomes 0 0, for DCR it needs 4t states. When J ends it back, now jump if not 0 then back. My B is 0, then why should I go back to my address? I will just go to next line. So for that, what I have taught you already, if the condition becomes false, what will happen? MUP memory, wait, for opcode, for JNZ's opcode XY, opcode fetch will get done, LA will get fetched, but as soon as I realize that my condition becomes false, no more MR is needed, so I need 7 T states for that. Okay, so in this case, this is the total T states that I will require. Next is return. When we write return is a 1-byte instruction, but I hope I beg you to remember this one. Call delay, go back, perform return to delay. Meanwhile, pop operation gets performed, means pop address. So for that, pop is a 16-bit address. This is why I need 2 memory read. So in return address, 4 T states for opcode fetch, and for pop instruction I need 2 extra MRs. Means why pop from stack, I need to get back my return address. As it is an address 16 bits, this is why it will get stored at 2 memory locations. This is why 2 MR is needed to perform return. So in return, total 10 T states are required. So the total time that will needed for this, so the total time that will give this operation is, first, so the first line is MVI B comma count or some value. Suppose in my example I have taken FFH, means 255H. This is 70 states. First 70 plus these 4T, this loop which I have already discussed in this math. How much time is required? 4T plus, in all cases we require 10 T states for J and Z back. Only when the condition goes false, I need 7 T states. So as of now, just take the example of 10 T, then I will teach you that how this instruction will get, how we count this. So 10 T states, how many times do I require it? The value that is stored in B register. Suppose in this example I have taken 8, so 8 times this loop will get performed. But now I have taken example of 255, so 10 times into 255. But in one condition, when the condition goes false, we require 70 states, not 10. So minus 3T. Okay. Plus return. Return needs 10 T states. So plus 10T. Okay. So 17 T states plus 10T into 255 minus 3 T states equals to 1 T is already told you, this is 0.33 milliseconds. So after this calculation, it will give you 1.19 millisecond. I will do this calculation one more time for your help. MVI B comma 08H back DC RB JNZ back, then return. This will get performed 8 times. This will get performed only once, right? So how much time will these two lines will required? 70 and this is 10t. So total 17 t states plus this DCR 4 t states, JNZ back 10 t states. So 14 t states into 8. In this line only once the condition will get false. So this will require 7 t states. This is why I am doing minus 3t, and this will give you the result. Using this 8-bit register, this is how we can produce delay. Okay. My last example is using a 16-bit register. See, using a 8-bit register and using a 16-bit register, both are quite same. Only the program for decrementing a 16-bit register that creates the difference. Let me do this for you. Otherwise, everything is same. Okay. So call delay, go to delay, LXI H comma the number. I have taken the maximum value FFFFH. Then see, incrementing, decrementing, all gets performed by ALU. You know this, right? Whenever ALU is doing any performance, flag register gets directly affected by this. In flag register there will be 0 flag also, so this will get affected. But when we are doing a 16-bit operation, ALU is of 8-bit. It can't store an 16-bit value, right? I think if you remember the architecture video, you have seen that when the registers was B, C, D, E, H, L, then there was something called INCR and DCR register. Whenever we are doing a 16-bit decrementing or incrementing operation, INCR and DCR performs that. Now, flag register doesn't get affected by INCR or DCR. It will only get affected by ALU. So if I need to check whether my register pair is 0 or not, means whenever you need to end your loop, then I need to check my flag register. But that can be affected by INCR. So somehow I need to use ALU in this operation. Okay. So how that operation will get performed? First, okay, just write it as it is in the program. Delay. First store a 16-bit value. Suppose LXI H 1, 2, 3, 4 H. Means in HL there is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then DCX H 1, 2, 3, 3. DCX H is a special type of instruction. Why? As I have already told you that this decrementing will get performed by INCR and DCR register. This is why this is a 1-byte instruction. But when mu p will fetch the opcode from memory, this particular instruction needs 6 T states. You remember I've told you that there are some special operations that need 6 T states in a timing diagram video. So this is one of them. DCX H will get decremented. Now there is a short trick that we can use for involving ALU in this. What is this? Store the value of H in a register. So move, A comma H. So now A will become 1, 2, right? Now add HL with A. Add L with A. ORL A. So A becomes 3 3, it will become 5 4. ORAL. So now my A is 45. Now as A is 45 means flag register will get affected by this because I performed something using my ALU. Next, JNZ back. You have to go back to here. So this is my back. And then write return. I will tell you how this happens. Each time I decrement this value will once become 0 0 respectively. So then A will be still 1 2, but L is 0 0. So when I do ORAL, A is still 0. Then again JNZ back. But when I do DCXH, after some time, this value, that is now 1 2 0 0, this will also become 0 0, the value in H. So this is 0 and 0. Now when I do ORAL, means 0 0 plus 0 0, my A will become 0 0. The only time A will become 0 0 is when both the values stored in H and L will become 0. Did you understand my point? Just for example, if I've taken 0812 in HL, go on decrementing. Okay, 0811, 0810, 0800. What I am telling you to do, store this value at A and keep this as it is. Add them. Check whether it is 0 or not. If it is 0, gets back to your loop. This 2 lines is just for involving ALU in this operation. OR will, using OR gate, ALU will give you 0 only when both the values in H and L are 0 0. Only when A is 0 0, flag register will get affected by this and my 0 flag goes 0, and then these loop will terminate. So this is how, using a 16-bit register, we can produce delay. Okay, just see this video 1 or 2 times to understand this program. Our next step is calculating the time required for this this 16-bit register. Using 16-bit register, how much time we can how much delay we can produce is. So LXIH and return, these 2 lines will get performed only once. So the time required for this is 4 plus 3 plus 3, total 10 T states, and for return 10 T states, total 20 T states, plus this will produce as many times as you want your loop to go on. I have taken FF, which is the max value, which is 65535, and total number of T states are 6 plus 4 10, 14, and 10 24 T states into 65535. Obviously in this I've already explained this, right, minus 3 T states total. So using the 16-bit register, the time total delay will be, I don't exactly remember the number, 0.525 second, means half second. So using a 16-bit register, we can produce the delay of half second. Okay, so if you just want to create more time delay, then use this loop several times, or just like write this one NOP, then again call this delay subroutine. So this will give you a time delay of half second. So these are the 3 ways that are used for producing software delay. I hope you understand. If you have any queries, please ask me in the comment section. For notes, you can email me, and thanks for watching.